What's up, everyone? Today I have the pleasure to chat with Canadian singer-songwriter, former Toronto Maple Leafs Anthem performer, and actress Martina Ortiz-Louise. In this newest episode, Martina talked about being fresh off a shooting movie musical feature, Verona, her newly released show on Roku, Most Dangerous Game New York, supernatural Western horror television series Wynonna Earp, experience as the first ever official Toronto Maple Leafs Anthem performer, her special night at Canada's Walk of Fame Awards show, upcoming music projects, performances, and more. Now, with that being said, hope you enjoy my conversation with Martina. Martina, hello.
Hello.
How are you doing first and foremost? That's an important question to ask.
I'm doing great, I'm back in Toronto. It's a beautiful sunny day outside, so I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm doing really good, and obviously we're both from
Good.
the T dot, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously we are both Leaf fans, and
Of
obviously you're
course.
yeah, who else wouldn't? Other than Montreal fans. So we have to get to, obviously you have a new show out that just released on Roku called Most Dangerous Game. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's called Most Dangerous Game New York. It's the second season. And basically it features David Castaneda and Christoph Waltz, Anna Gunn, Sierra Bravo, Aaron Poole, and it's a really unique take on the short story Most Dangerous Game, where this kind of secret society of extremely wealthy people hire these runners who are in need of a lot of cash, and are stuck in sticky situations, and they hire them as runners and hunt them for 24 hours. So this season it is David, who plays Victor Suero, who is my older brother. And yeah, it's a really great action thriller. We've got some really good, deep, emotional scenes, and the dynamic of the cast is just really cool to see. So check it out on Roku.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I wasn't sure if I got this correct, but the showrunner is Nick Santora, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. So yeah, so the showrunner is Nick Santora. You're the supporting character to Christoph Waltz. And obviously you play the role of Josie Suero.
Yes.
Who is Josie?
Josie is she's a little scrappy, she's a little feisty. She's had a tough childhood growing up in the Bronx, New York with her brother Victor, and they've had to kind of really fight for each other their whole lives. And honestly, Josie probably is the extremely lucky one, having a big brother like that who will literally do anything for her and to keep her safe. Um, and I think in this season, she really tries to give back that favor and help him out a bit. And with that comes some extreme consequences. So I guess you'll just have to watch the show to see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I loved playing Josie, and I loved working with David as my older brother. And it was just an incredible experience to get to play her.
Absolutely. And obviously, um, you know, well, and my brother being originally from Brooklyn, New York, we were born
No way.
there. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So there's the connection. And obviously, is it I need to ask you this. Is it ever draining to have to play a role and then also be so busy doing that shoot for so long and then having to finally come back to terms and come back to home ground and say, we need to just settle down here and get back to who Martina is as a person. Is it ever draining?
Uh, well, I want to say it is. It does take up a lot of your energy because a lot of the days you can be working up to 12, 14 hours a day. Um, but what was really good about this shoot specifically, Most Dangerous Game, was that we filmed it in Toronto. So I was doing Leafs games when I could while we were filming this, and And I was going back home. I was getting picked up from home. So after a long day of filming, it was kind of great to sleep in my own bed and have some homemade cooking, and just ground myself after a day's work. I did not get that exact luxury in this past shoot that I did in Italy. It was entirely different on its own, and a completely, extremely different, incredible experience. But for Most Dangerous Game in particular, it was good to kind of come home and just ground myself. And yeah, I don't think it was ever extremely, extremely draining energy wise. I just had a lot of fun, and I got to do a lot of fun, cool things that I've never gotten to do before, with Josie. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that being said, obviously you just came off a 5-month long shoot doing a movie musical called Verona in Italy.
Yes.
Tell us about that experience going overseas to do something like that.
I mean, spending 3 months in Italy is just, it's a dream come true. How could it not be, right? We started off with rehearsals in November, and we were in Rome, Verona, Parma, and Salsomaggiore, which is a small town in northern Italy. And it was amazing. Like, we were filming in castles. We were filming just in these really old, like 1,000-year-old towns, at night, and wearing these incredible costumes on these incredible sets. It was just extremely surreal, and I got to eat a lot of good food, which was really cool. So yeah, it was just an otherworldly experience altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. And this movie musical was directed by Timothy Scott Bogart. What it was also written by William Shakespeare, but Timothy Bogart also wrote it, but inspired by William's work.
Mhm.
How influential was Timothy in this sort of proceedings or creation of this movie musical?
Well, yeah, so this musical is based on Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, but also it isn't. Tim, he really just kind of created this whole new world, that the characters of Romeo and Juliet live in. And it's just incredible. And we have these contemporary pop songs that honestly sound like they could be on the radio, and we got to perform those on these like 12th 13th century sets, which was just so surreal. And yeah, we've got a few twists and turns in there, things that aren't necessarily in Shakespeare, that Tim kind of just created in his own genius brain. So yeah, you'll just have to wait and see the film to see what I'm talking about. But yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I was gonna try and see if you could spill the tea on a little bit of what we can expect out of Verona, but obviously we're gonna have to find out by ourselves. And so
Yes, I can tell you that I play the role of Veronica, and I play Mercutio's love interest. And we have some great musical numbers, and we have an incredibly exciting young ensemble, and it's just incredible. These are some of the most talented people I've ever gotten to work with, and our cast includes like some really cool people like Rupert Everett, Jason Isaacs, Rupert Graves, Rebel Wilson, Derek Jacobi. So it's really exciting, and it's just beautiful and full of life and energy, and I really can't wait for you guys to see it.
yeah, and you're just talking about the stars that are also included in this movie musical. What is it like working with those people?
Oh man, well, it was great. They were all so kind and really, really took us young cast under their wings. And I think part of what was so great about it was that for a lot of our shoot, we were in this small town, Salsomaggiore, which is in the Parma region, of Italy. And we were all staying at the same place. And so, we would go down to the restaurant for dinner and everyone would be there and they'd just kind of welcome everyone and we'd all have a big dinner together, like every other night, or we would see each other in the lobby or see each other walking around town. And so yeah, it was just a really cool experience to just be in the presence of these people that have been in the industry and just learning from them and hearing them talk is just so fascinating. So yeah, it was really great.
Yeah, absolutely. Who cracks you up the most when you're having those types of dinners with those people?
Oh man, I mean, we have some really funny young cast members, like Nicholas Padani and Zach Bellward. I think they would crack me up the most. But also, we were at a table with like Rupert Everett and Rebel Wilson, and it's just impossible to not laugh. And like they just have this energy about them, and just so naturally funny. Rupert Graves as well. So yeah, we just had a really fun cast, and we all just had a really good time. And I think we got really lucky that we all kind of took to each other so nicely and really bonded.
Yeah, absolutely. And we need to know what was being served at dinner.
What was being served? I mean, we were in Italy, baby, so we were eating like pasta. We were eating a lot of prosciutto and bread for sure. What else? You know, classic red wine, of course. Uh, and yeah, really good steak. They had really good beef in the Parma region and just really good meats overall. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And honestly, I feel it's lucky that you guys get those types of special foods, I guess, because I remember at my prom, oh not it wasn't a prom. It was, oh, yeah, it was a prom, sorry. It was a prom and they served just horrendous food. I'm sorry. Like no
Oh no.
like no disses to the people who work at the restaurant that we were at. Um I mean, they were serving like, when you're teenagers and you're expecting like, like to be served like junk type food, I guess. Like, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
you're expecting something that like teenagers would gravitate towards more,
Mm,
and then
okay.
you get served just veggies.
You know, you're not a veggie guy?
Listen, I don't have a problem with it, but the
Right.
thing is that when you're enjoying something as big of a night that's not going to happen ever again in your life,
Mm,
you're
wow.
expecting some sort of celebratory food
Mm,
rather than being served something that young kids in preschool would eat. No
yeah,
disrespect,
that's
but
really funny because in Italy, you know, we could hardly find any just veggie dishes. Like it was just plain salads or just eat this gigantic bowl of pasta. And obviously, you gravitate to one more than the other. But yeah, I'm sorry that happened at your prom.
no, no, you don't have to apologize. I feel it's the people that organized that decision. I don't know who made the decision, but wasn't good. But overall, I think it was a really great night, and also you had a great night at the Canada's Walk of Fame that we need to talk about as well.
Yes.
You met Alessia Cara, you presented Alessia Cara with the Alan Slade Award,
Yes, I
and you
did.
also performed a tribute in front of Alessia Cara. Tell us about
Hmm.
that.
Oh man, that was just a really surreal event to get to be part of. I remember I got to dress up a little bit and the hair and makeup team got to do my hair and makeup that night and I got to walk the carpet, which was my first time doing that and it was just I just felt like wow, feels so nice. And yeah, just I mean, Alessia Cara is and has become such a prominent Canadian figure in the music industry. And she's just, I mean, her songs are beautiful. And so I got to sing this special arrangement of Scars to Your Beautiful with like I think it was a string quartet and a mini girls choir and I got to sing it and then they had these messages from people that she really cared about and really been touched by her in their lives, and they played these messages for her, you know, in the middle of the song. It was just really beautiful, and I got to present her with the award in front of all these Canadian icons, which was surreal. And then I got to meet her and give her a hug, and that was just a very surreal moment for me, and definitely memorable.
Absolutely, and I remember seeing that on live TV, and seeing you have that moment for yourself, and I was like, man, this girl is making me proud. You
Thank
know,
you, thank you.
because it's like, well, I mean, we're both Asians,
Yes.
and I'm like, you know what, like I've considered Asians as brothers and sisters to me, and so it basically felt like a sibling going up there to really have a momentous moment, I guess, to live their dreams out, to meet such an icon like Alessia Cara, and the
Yeah.
success she's had coming up from Brampton. And so when you go up there and you're performing that tribute, and then you're also getting to present Alessia Cara with the award, what was going through your head?
Oh my God. What was going through my head? Whew. Um, God, I don't even know. I mean, I probably, our arrangement of Scars Here Are Beautiful was just so different from the original, and I think I just kept thinking, oh man, I really hope we do this some justice. And also, I hope that I can add a little sprinkle of my own, you know, my own little je ne sais quoi on the song, and you know, just make her proud, and make her really realize the impact of what she's done in this industry, and how so many young girls look up to her. Um, yeah, yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. And obviously I remember I was just seeing recently that you're sharing a lot about on your social medias about the Oscars. And what a just a special moment it was for, you know, I guess like Asian people or Asian descent people who are
yeah,
making history there, you know, Michelle Yeoh, um who is the first woman of Asian descent to win an Oscar for Best Actress and the second woman of color to receive the award.
yeah,
And Halle Berry was the only other woman of color to receive the Best Actress award.
yeah,
Presented her Michelle Yeoh with that Oscar.
yeah. So special.
So for you being obviously Asian descent, you are very clear about representation being important to you. And seeing that moment there, what did it mean to you?
Oh man, I mean, well, first of all, I look up to those two actresses so much, Halle Berry and Michelle Yeoh, and I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once like maybe two or three times last year, and it was just unlike anything I've ever seen before. And I guess it was just a statement to the industry, a statement to Hollywood, that everyone can appreciate these stories that come from different cultures and aren't necessarily stereotypical, and are just can really touch people no matter where you come from. And so I think that was really inspiring for me to just see that is possible, and that you can make a story and a film as crazy and as wild and as out there as Everything Everywhere All at Once, and be recognized for it, you know. And the family dynamics in that movie are just so moving, and they're just so, like, they really hit you. So just being able to see a family like that represented. Obviously, I'm not Chinese, I'm Filipino, uh, with a whole lot of other things possibly mixed in there. But I feel like, as the daughter of immigrants, and being Filipino, and you know, Asian, that whole moment, seeing that happen at the Oscars, and also seeing the love that that cast has for each other, is just so inspiring, and just it was so refreshing to see how much, like, genuineness and kindness and just heart was being shown at the Oscars this year. I thought it was really lovely and really refreshing to witness.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I think that like, and I want to ask you this question because I think it's important to ask you it. And the question is that like, you know, when you're seeing those types of things happening, and you said it's obviously refreshing to see, and I totally agree with that statement. Um, I mean, how much does that sort of inspire you as now like an up and coming sort of actress that's now going into all these different these movies and these shows that you're on now? How much does that influence your career moving forward?
Hmm. Well, it's definitely inspiring because you, they've like people like Michelle Yeoh have really, and Halle Berry, and all these amazing actresses of color being recognized in this way. It shows you that it's possible, and they've kind of laid out that path for us to expand these stories. And even doing something like Verona, which is a period piece, and I've been told in the past that the chances of someone like me doing a period piece like Romeo and Juliet in Italy was never, really in the cards for me. It's not really common to see people of color in period pieces like that, in like 13th century outfits and stuff like that. So I think it's just the possibilities are more diverse and more and expanding, and just also being inspired to create your own stories, because sometimes people aren't just going to hand that to you. You just have to really create your own, and really work for it. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree with that. And we have to talk about Wynonna Earp, obviously. It's a supernatural Western horror television series, filmed in Alberta, Canada. I remember listening to you talk about the Wynonna Earp on one podcast I was listening to, and you said that you got the call to fly to Calgary, and you had no time to really sink in that moment, and you just basically hopped on a flight, all the way to the West Coast, and eventually just sunk your feet in and said, "Okay, we're doing this." Tell me about that experience.
Yeah. Wow. Just so surreal. That was just a really, really surreal moment for me, because I got the request for the callback on a Thursday, and I was like sitting, I don't know. Yeah, I was sitting in a university lecture at the time. I was studying classical voice performance at the University of Toronto, and I was sitting in a lecture or a performance, and I like felt my phone buzz, and I was like, oh my God, and I like discreetly checked to see what it was, and it was an email requesting me for a callback for Rachel, and that callback was on a Thursday. And then I think I got the call saying that I got it like on a Friday or Saturday, and then Sunday I was on a flight out to Calgary. And then yeah, and then I think Monday we had our first cast table read, and then a couple days later I was just thrown in to my first scene. So it was just, yeah, they really just kind of threw me in there, and thankfully I had these like really great idols to look up to and to learn from, and everyone was so kind and really kind of trying to ease me in and help me out with the terminology and finding my mark and stuff like that. I did run into the cameraman my first day of filming, and I got a lot of bruises from that. Apologies to that camera guy. I think it was Donovan, our B cam operator, but yeah, I just really had to ground myself and find my way, navigate all that really quickly, which was quite fun.
Yeah, and it's already in 4 seasons, right?
Yes, so I joined in for the fourth season, and unfortunately, we don't know what's gonna happen next with this story. So we left it at the 12th episode of this fourth season. But we have such an incredible fan base, the Earpers. They're so supportive, and they really are passionate about the show. So last year and this year, a bunch of the cast, including myself, we've been doing all these conventions all over the world, which has just been so crazy to be a part of. And so we'll see what happens next. We honestly don't know, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. And who is Rachel Valdez?
Rachel Valdez, she's a funny little character. She's sassy, she's fierce, she's feisty. She really has to. She's been before the Earp clan kind of finds her. She's been staying in a lab that's been like overrun by zombies, trying to find her mother for like 18 months. And so she's kind of like Josie in a way. She's scrappy. She's had to hold her own for quite some time. And suddenly she just finds love in this Earp family who kind of take her in as their own, as a little sister, as a daughter. And she gets thrown into this crazy world of Earp, which was kind of like what I had to do when I was thrown into the season. So navigating Rachel and just being a part of that for so many episodes was just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing I find about Josie and Rachel is that you seem like you really have a niche of what characters, what type of characters you want to play. Because both are feisty, both are sassy. Is there something to that you just wanted to play a sassy, feisty type character?
I will honestly say this was not entirely by choice because when you're starting out as an actor, you audition for countless roles. And I can say that my character Gabby in Top Line is not like that at all. She's very much like, by the book, you have to do this and this. Family, you need to follow your family's rules, blah 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 blah. Just classic older sister type vibes. And the character that I play in Verona is also very different to anything that I've played before. I guess it's just really funny that Josie and Rachel are very similar, but also extremely different. But yeah, it's just funny to kind of find those little similarities. But also, I guess it's because as an actress, you are taking parts of yourself and putting them into those characters. So yeah.
No, honestly, I totally get it. And here's the thing, like I think especially with Verona, which is a movie musical, I remember when I was in I think grade 7 or grade 8, I tried out for my middle school's musical to do Lion King.
Lion
Um
King.
and sadly didn't get the part, but
Oh
that's
no.
no, because I remember I was so young and I didn't know what the because I don't remember what the song was, but you had to practice this song and try out for it. I don't remember if it was "Can You Feel the Love Tonight." I wasn't sure if it was that one. But I can sing it really good now. Which is always a positive thing.
Uh-huh.
And so as we talk about singing, we have to talk about you being the Toronto Maple Leafs anthem performer from 2016 to I think what 2021?
Ooh, 2022.
2022. Yes.
Yeah.
So we have to talk about that. What was that like?
I mean, are there even words to describe? Like, I grew up with that team. I spent 6 years with that organization, and I mean, people always asked me like, don't you get tired of singing the same two songs every night? And honestly, no, I genuinely didn't. I didn't get tired of it at all, and I loved it. The energy from the crowd was different every single night, and you have 20,000 or so new people every night giving you different energy, and you had a new team every night, facing a new team every night. And then the pandemic hit. There were just so many things that we had to navigate, and I did that from ages 15 to 21 or almost 21. So the love that I have for that team runs deep. I bleed blue and white, and I'm still ride or die for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I was watching their games out in Italy, and like that organization has all of my love. They still have so much of my heart, and I love them.
Absolutely. And obviously we both bleed blue and white here.
Of course.
And we have to, was there ever like a um I mean, you got to meet the players, right, in person. And
I've
so
met a few of them, yeah.
who would you say is like the most funniest, or like the most like, well, I'll get okay. Here's okay. I'm not cutting corners here. I'm just gonna say it. Who is your favorite player?
Oh no! I can't choose one. Um
Gotta be Maddie.
I mean, I'm trying to remember. I think the first time I met Willie and Hyman, they couldn't stop saying my last name. So like I think I was just like walking by the hallway and they were like Martina Ortiz Louise, and they just kept saying it, which I thought was really funny. And Jake Gardner was such a sweetheart as well. I haven't met Marner. I've met him, but I haven't really talked to him quite a bit. But his family always comes and says hi to me when they see me at the arena, so that was really sweet. Travis Dermott and Katerina, they've always been so lovely to me, and just yeah, actually all of them have been incredibly nice to me. They're just the sweetest souls, and yeah, love those guys.
Yeah,
Rooting for them
absolutely,
always.
absolutely. You delivered the right answer. And obviously, like here's the thing, like was there ever like a nickname? Because I know the Leafs all have nicknames that they go by. Was there a nickname that they kind of called you by? And instead of saying Martin Ortiz Luis, was there a short form or nickname that they gave you?
I don't think so. I don't think so. It would be really funny if they did. And I'm not sure if they did, but it's funny. Everyone there, even the crew and stuff, they just always liked saying my full name. I guess because that's how Mike Ross announces it, and also because it rhymes a little. Um, but yeah, it would be really cool to see if I have some type of hockey nickname. But how would you even do that with Ortiz Luis, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the funny thing, as well, like I remember there was something, I don't know, it was Bunting. It was Michael Bunting, and I remember he actually, I think I was inside here, I was busy doing something, and my brother says that like there's it looked like one of his friends was dropping off something at our house, and he says, I think I just saw Michael Bunting right outside your home. Um
Oh
and
wow.
and apparently I feel like his friend kind of lives close to us here, and he might have just came to visit or something like that. Because they
Wow.
basically like full on investigated if it was his car or not. Like there's full on investigations. Um, yeah, but yeah, Bunce is a great person, and he's just I like to call him a pest. He's a real pest on the ice.
Oh
And
yeah,
and
he's a
and
pit bull.
we approve of that. And also we have to wrap up of talking about, you have a lot of singles already out. You have a lot of songs
Yes.
that songs have already been out. What's
Mm-hmm.
next? What's coming?
I mean, I've been working since I've been back. I've been doing some sessions, and I have a lot of songs in my back pocket that I can't wait for people to hear. And yeah, I'm just writing more and hoping to release more this year. So watch out for that. Follow me on Spotify, Apple Music, all that fun stuff, and my socials. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. For more updates on that, because I'll definitely be posting about new releases once they happen. Yeah.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up here, I want to ask you this last question that has challenged every single person on this podcast. And I know that you're up for the challenge, so I'm gonna give it to you now.
Oh
Um,
no.
if there was if there's one person that is already in heaven that you would want to play a song with, who would it be, and what song would you play?
Wow. There are too many legends and icons that we've lost too soon. The first person that's coming to mind is Whitney Houston. And I don't know what song we would do. But she's always like just her songs and the way that she performs and her voice, of course, has always been a huge inspiration. So I don't know. I'm like, what song would we perform? Let's say something fun, like How Will I Know? Yeah. Yeah. Don't know why.
I thought you were gonna say I want to dance with somebody, but
That too, that would be great. That would be great. Or a
yeah.
ballad like I Have Nothing or Saving All My Love for You. So many options. She has so many great songs.
Hey, there's also one other song with Kygo. It's Higher Love.
Higher Love, yeah.
Yeah, that's a banger right there.
Mhm.
Well, it's the end of our time together, but thank you so much for chatting with me. I had such a pleasure,
Oh, such a pleasure. Thank you
and
for having me.
and honestly, you can come back on whenever you'd like, and we can talk all about new shows that you're working on, your music
Thank you.
projects upcoming. I think I might be able to speak to some other of your castmates that are on some of the shows that we were talking about today. But until then, I mean, thank you so much again for just being so gracious with your time.
My
And
pleasure.
and you know what? I have to say this. I remember every night when you were on, every season when you performed "O Canada" and the national anthems, especially in the playoffs, that was amazing. And I remember just like,
Thank
you
you.
know, like just I remember I just want to make sure to let you know that
Thank you. That means a
you
lot.
I think Leaf fans will adore you forever and whatever. Yeah,
My little water cup that I
that's
stole
right.
from the arena.
Okay, well, actually, last question here.
Okay.
Prediction on the Leafs season.
I don't want to do that. No, no. No, we can't do that because you'll jinx something. I don't know how we'll jinx it, but something will be jinxed.
Okay.
And that's just the way of being a Leafs fan.
You seem like you really believe in superstitious stuff, and hopefully that does not happen. And you know what? I'm not gonna jinx anything, but I'm just saying
Just
that, you know,
fingers crossed and all my
every
love
year,
to those guys.
I remember I was talking to Lindsay Dunn on an interview that I did with her, and we always joked about the Leaf fans saying, "Well, it's our year." Well, we say it every year. But hopefully this season looks different. So with that being
manifesting
said,
and praying.
thank you so much to Martina for taking the time to speak with me. Thank you again for doing this. It's been a pleasure. And
My pleasure.
if you want to connect with Martina, you can find her on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and on TikTok. You can also follow her on her music platforms as well. Really cool music that she's got upcoming. To connect with me, you can connect on social medias. I'm on TikTok as well. You can listen on all podcast streaming platforms. I've been your host, Jigme Kelsang. Thanks for tuning into the show.